Hey, brother.
Hey, brother.
So let's talk about our process. We
Okay.
we were gonna talk about confined and kind of our process and how we work together.
Oh, okay. So you're talking about like our writing process, like how we,
Right.
yeah. Where do you
Right.
want to, where do you want to start this thing?
That's a.
Because
I mean, that's a good question.
it begins. Yeah, I feel like confined was maybe the first time we actually wrote properly together. Like we
Yeah.
figured out how to write together.
Yeah.
But it actually starts before that. Do you want to start at the very beginning?
Let's start at the beginning. Let's
Okay.
go for it.
Yeah, so I think this is probably really good for people who are writers, because it sort of teaches you how to work with other people,
Yeah.
and it also
How long
like
it takes to get there too.
yes, it can take a long time to get there,
Yeah.
but if you find somebody that you can bounce ideas off of, it's like an accelerant where something that might take years for you to figure out will take like an hour to figure out.
Yeah.
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 So yeah, like the match the first place to go?
Yeah. I mean, I guess. Yeah. The Match is the first film that I wrote. The first like screenplay that I wrote, really.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd been writing before that for quite a while at that point. You wrote short stories, you wrote novels before you
Yeah.
got into screenwriting. And then, yeah, I got into The Match, and it was a short story that I had written with who's now my wife.
Yeah.
We were writing this short story with each other, and we
Mhm.
took a scene from that short story, and I turned it into kind of like a little segment.
Yeah.
And did I write the first
I don't remember.
draft?
I
I
don't
think I wrote the
remember
first draft.
I don't remember if I did any writing on the match or not. Did I do any writing on it or was it just
You hacked it to pieces because I
yeah.
because I the first draft that I wrote was so word heavy. See,
Oh,
it
okay.
came originally from a short story, so it was
Yeah.
very dialogue heavy.
Yeah.
And I like gave it to you, and you cut out like maybe half, maybe more than half of the dialogue. You're like,
Yeah.
none of this is necessary.
Yeah. So I did basically like a second draft on it.
Right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
where you had like your first draft, and then I did second draft on it, and then, but I mean, that wasn't that was kind of our first experience really working together, but I don't think it really shines a light on how it went because that had like a source material
Yeah.
beforehand that we could turn to.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, there was a couple times where I wrote scripts for you to direct.
Yeah.
And then you would be like, this doesn't this doesn't work. Like I don't like you, not that it didn't work, but like you couldn't
Right.
see the vision for how to make it work.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I couldn't figure out how to get on page with you
Right.
to change it. And then, but Confined is the first time where I think we actually figured it out
Yeah.
after
Yeah.
years. This was like years now.
Yeah. Yeah. We had difficulty getting on the same page, but yeah, with Confined, I think that I just told you because it was during quarantine, and I said like we need to do like a feature length film in quarantine. And I think originally you were like, let's just make it a short film. And I was like, no, like it won't be worth doing if it's not a feature length film.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
we got to make this, impressive. Um, and I don't even remember like how we came up with the premise
We
entirely. But
Yeah, I think we came up with a premise for it, and then we were just working around like, okay, like we're in quarantine, so we can't use any extra people.
right.
So it's got to be like just a one person on screen
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
dealio. And then we were like, what do we have that we can use? Because we can't really go places either. So we ended up
Yeah.
just using sort of like the cellar.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we came up with the basic idea for it. And then I think I did first draft on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You did
I
first draft.
I did first draft. Then you were like, okay, like make these changes.
Right.
Like, this stuff doesn't work. And I was like, I don't know how to.
Right.
You know what I mean? And this is really
Right.
where like this whole thing came out. And then I was like, if you have the vision for it, like you can write, like you make the changes.
Yeah.
And then now,
Yeah.
like, just if the foundation is good, you can make changes for it where you're like, okay, we can't do this stuff because we don't have like whatever the resources or the time, or it just doesn't make any sense, or I don't see the vision for it.
Yeah.
And then you came in and
Yeah.
actually changed it. Should we say a little bit what Confined is, the like plot of the story?
Yeah. Yeah. So Confined, is a character, James. He wakes up in a cellar and he's chained to the floor. He has a cuff around his ankle, and there's food and water just out of reach, and a cell phone. There's food and water and a cell phone just out of reach. So yeah, Confined is kind of like his journey of trying to figure out how to survive down there, how to get a hold of the water, and when you wrote the initial script, I think that there was like a bowl of like nuts or seeds or something like that.
Yeah.
And we knew we had access to a rat.
Yeah.
So there's going to be like him kind of like training the rat to get the to bring the seeds over to him.
Yeah.
And I cut a bunch of the rat stuff out because I was like, I don't know if we're going to be able to train this rat.
Yeah. We're like, what is this, a CGI rat?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Picking the seeds up and bringing it over. Yeah.
I cut the song and dance scene out where the rat where the rat does a little dance. Yeah, cut that out. The top hat, we cut the top hat out. And I made it more about like him kind of using just what little he has access to like to actually create, like, fashion these tools to like bring the stuff over to him. So like once I rewrote it, basically all of the dialogue in the movie was written by you. And then like all of the action of like things that he was doing was written by me.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how it ended up being formed. So that, I guess that was kind of our first real collaboration that actually worked.
Yeah. Well, like,
Right.
I think it was just it worked out really well. And I think like for me, I was like, I figured out that like I go, oh, I can, if you give me an idea, I can write something, but it's going to be my own thing.
Yeah.
Like I can't, it's difficult for me to go outside of what it is that excites me about the story.
Yeah.
You know, like where now I'm just sort of like writing like almost as like a job.
It's your idea now.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
it is, and that's kind of a difficult thing for, I would imagine most writers, but it's difficult for me too. Like if someone tells me an idea, and like if I'm not like, if I don't think it's a good idea, or if I'm not like super excited about it, then it's difficult for me to get excited about it, and it's difficult for me to be like, how am I going to make this work where it's actually entertaining? And like I say it a lot, but I feel like the most difficult thing to do when filmmaking is entertaining an audience.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's very easy to come up with a good idea, and it's very easy to write something that's intelligent if it's boring. But it's very difficult to make something entertaining. So if somebody gives me an idea and I'm not super thrilled about it, then I do have a little like, at first I have some like hesitance like, how am I going to actually make this entertaining for an audience?
Yeah. Yeah, I see, like, I won't even be hesitant. I'll just look at it and be like, that's nice, but I think it should do this. I'll do that.
You're like, this isn't going to work.
Which isn't always in the vision of like the person who's like, I want this story. And then I'm like, well, this story's better. But it's like it's my thing. But I think you're actually better at being like, okay, this is the story. Then I think what you got better at, where I think I still struggle with, is I would do something like Confined. I'd write stuff, and you were like, this stuff doesn't work. Like we can't actually do this stuff. And then I was like, okay, well, like just. And then you were like rewrite it, and I was like, well, like you write it, you rewrite it.
Yeah.
And then you did, you know?
Right.
you did write it like in a way that like makes sense. So I think you're actually better at doing that, at like sort of like sticking to within the confines of like this is the lore of the world, or this is, you know, like you can't just change stuff because you feel like it.
Right, yeah.
Like you have to stay within the confines of like, here's the world lore, here's what we can do, here's, you know, like in reality, here's...
These are the rules, this is the original vision.
Yes.
Like, let's stick with that, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like that, yeah, it's sort of a, it's... But yeah, I think, Confined really taught us how to like, I think, work together in that fashion.
Yeah.
Then the Golden Boys happened. Yeah, we got better at it.
We got better at it. A lot better.
So with the Golden Boys, we just started... You actually came up with the idea for the Golden Boys.
Yeah, kind of on a whim. Because I was just thinking... Because it was sort of the same... not quite, but with Confined, I was like, oh, I just need to do something in quarantine. So it could be like, you know, me driving... You know, and I'm driving for like an hour, and it's me like talking to people, and we were like, oh, you know, how else could we do this? How else could we film it where it's like one person? So we came up with a different premise. So I kind of was doing that same thing where I was like, I was editing Confined. We weren't even done with Confined yet.
Yeah.
And we were having dinner, and I was like, you know, once I'm done editing Confined, I want to shoot another movie, and like we can shoot something with Hans, and it can be like a road trip type film. And I was like, but it doesn't need to be a road trip. It could be like a local thing. Like, you know, there's like two guys and they're like chasing like a serial bank robber around. Like they just have clues and they're just trying to like go from bank to bank to see if they can track him down.
Yeah.
And you were like, I really like that idea. Let's just do that. You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
so
went right into it.
Yeah, we went like directly into it where we maybe how long was the conversation that we had? Maybe like an hour or two?
Maybe an hour and a half maybe.
Yeah, and we went through basically the entire movie. Like character names, locations that they were going to visit, like little things that they were going to do, like the funny scenes, like funny lines for it and stuff like that. And yeah, we just kept like kind of trucking away on it. I think I did. Did I do first draft on that one?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. I think
I
I
did first draft, and there's like no changes necessary.
They were like, we literally were looking through first draft, and we were like, we talked about almost every single one of these things. Got talked about. Like there really wasn't like a bunch of stuff added. I think the only addition I made was the actual Golden Girls.
Yes.
I included the Golden Girls thing.
You named it, and you had the Golden Girls. Like that was all you.
Yeah.
Everything else we'd pretty much figured out in that meeting.
Yeah.
So yeah, like when you had the script for us, and like I read through it, I was like, "There's not a single change that needs to be made. We already figured all this stuff out."
Yeah. But it's cool because it took us like 10 years
to get to that point
before we got to get to the point where like now we can actually have a conversation for like an hour or two and potentially get like talk through the entire movie.
Yeah.
And all the plot stuff, all the character stuff. And now like we have the foundation for like an entire movie.
Yeah. Yeah. If I'm working on something by myself, it can easily take me like months to get everything worked out, figure things out. What I've come into the habit of doing now is if I'm writing something and I'm like trying to figure something out, I'll just call you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Hey, can we talk about this script for like 30 minutes?"
Yeah.
And then like everything's kind of worked out by the end of the conversation. It's why I thought that we should start doing this podcast. It's just because we're capable of doing this now after years and years and years of working with each other. We understand each other's process so well that like we're able to write at an exponential rate when we work together.
Yeah, I actually thought like this wouldn't work because you were like,
this podcast?
You're like, we'll just introduce an idea and then we'll write like the story around it, you know, like we normally do when we're having a phone conversation. And I was like, that's not going to work. Where there's going to be a bunch of like thinking downtime, and you're like, no, there isn't.
Right. We don't do that.
And and then like, I was like, oh, there isn't. We don't really have a whole lot of thinking downtime. Like we actually continuously are bouncing stuff off of each other.
Yeah,
We do it really well. We've gotten better and better at it too.
Yeah, we figure it out in real time. There are people that I feel like must be skeptical. There was a review of the Golden Boys that was like kind of skeptical of the fact that like we came up with the idea within an hour.
Yeah.
And I was like, that'd be kind of cool. Like if a critic kind of feels that way, it would be cool to have a podcast that shows in real time. Like, no, we do this all the time. Like we do this weekly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you see that Hallmark movie we wrote?
Yeah.
I mean,
review that.
We blew that one out of the park. They're like, that one already exists. But yeah, they've already done that Hallmark movie.
It's nothing new under the sun.
Yeah. Well, I actually had this idea in my head for like, I think it was something like 5 to 8 years, somewhere in that range, that I couldn't figure out.
Yeah.
And then I finally got to the point where I was like, I think I'd like to write this thing, but I can't figure out these like different sections. So you and me were talking about it, and like I couldn't figure out like the MacGuffin very well. And dude, it got like worked out instantly.
Yeah.
Where I was like, this could have taken me like a lifetime to figure out. But then like, if you find somebody that you can collaborate with, where you're kind of on the same page, and you're open to hearing and like working through things, and your interest is more in the making the story as good as it can be.
Yeah.
Things can happen really fast that you just as, your one brain can't figure out as fast as like 2 or 3 brains,
Right.
Yeah, but my favorite Golden Boys story is that there's a character named Thor in it, and you actually had somebody lined up to play Thor.
Yes.
But then you told me like I'm not sure. I think he was sick or something like that. Like he's not feeling good, so I'm not sure if he's actually going to show up tomorrow. But we're doing the scene, and you're like, so bring costume.
Right. Yeah.
To play Thor, and I was like, oh, okay, thinking like no big deal. So like I'm literally like setting up lights and like duct taping things together and doing that. And then you're like, okay, get in the costume. I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
I get in the costume.
You didn't know you were going to be in the movie until the day of filming.
Like, I can't remember the lines. You're like, we wrote this thing. How do you not? We wrote it.
Yeah.
Oh, that was
I mean, same with Bree. Bree, my wife played Catherine.
Yeah.
And it was kind of the same thing. We had an actress that was lined up that we thought might be good, and then she didn't have the schedule that would work, and so Bree ended up stepping in. So both you and Bree kind of like ended up filling in last minute. You very last minute. Like you didn't know until you showed up that you were going to be playing Thor.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, I was literally like running around like, setting things up, and I was like cameraman 1 minute and the lighting guy the next minute, and doing sound, and then all of a sudden like I'm like doing props. To now I'm like, oh, now I'm in it. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun.
The fact that we got the Golden Boys made with so little resources is kind of incredible. I mean, it's very, very low budget. But man, it's fun. It's a lot of fun to watch. It's very entertaining. I'll still throw it on every once in a while. Yeah. It's on Tubi.
Yeah, I do too. I crave it. I end up craving it like probably every like 3 to like 6 months. I'll end up craving it.
Yeah.
And then I'll have to like throw it on and watch it, because there is something about it where I just feel like every time I watch it, I want to see it again.
Yeah, that's kind of what I hear most is people when they talk about my movies, they say like the Golden Boys, like I just feel like watching it again. And it's like, man, like the rewatchability, like that's not easy. Like entertaining an audience is not easy. Like I know it's low budget, but like
it's
and
charming,
people like it. They want to watch it again. Yeah, it's charming. All right. So you had an idea. Oh, I lost one of my earbuds. I can only hear you at half power now.
Yeah, we have an earbud emergency here.
My entire ear falls off.
Yeah, the whole ear. Wasn't that in the movie Safety Last? Was that in the movie where his ear actually falls off? He's got like
safety
a false,
not guaranteed.
Safety not guaranteed. Yeah, he's got a false ear.
Safety Last is that Harold Lloyd movie, the 1925.
Oh, okay.
Where he's
yeah.
hanging from the clock. Yeah.
Is that the one where he blew his finger off?
No, that was a short film.
Okay.
Yeah, there's an explosion and blew his finger right off on camera. It's crazy. Anyway, a little film history for you, but you had an idea. I don't know if you even told me the genre, but you had an idea for an elevator pitch.
Yeah.
Or what we call the elevator pitch.
Yeah.
Should I explain what the elevator pitch is?
Yeah, explain what that is. Explain what the elevator pitch is.
There's an actual term, elevator pitch, which is like if you're in an elevator with a studio exec, you have the elevator ride to explain your film to them, to try and sell it to them. So you have to come up with a pitch that's like, whatever, 20 seconds long or something like that. So our elevator pitch is we show up to the offices of a studio exec, and we don't have an idea yet. And we have the elevator ride up before we open the guy's door to actually work out this idea and come up with the idea.
Yeah, so it's a long elevator ride. This is like
it's a long elevator ride.
Yeah,
it's
like there's
not 20
a guy,
seconds.
There's a dude at the bottom hand cranking this thing up, all the way to the like top of the Empire State Building.
Yeah.
But yeah, so all we have to pitch this thing by the time we get to the top.
Right, but you have an idea. I have not heard it yet.
So I do have an idea. So the genre is horror. It's a horror genre.
Okay.
It's going to be very kind of like low budget, small cast.
All right.
And so here's the idea.
Okay.
Okay. There's a hitman.
All right.
And he's got an older gentleman. The older guy's got a cane. And he's out in the middle of like some dirt trail out in the middle of the woods.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
And he is going to execute this older gentleman.
All right.
Right? And maybe they have a conversation, and the old guy doesn't really seem like he cares all that much. Almost like, is he really getting what's going on here? Like, you're about to be shot,
Right.
Anyway, the hitman shoots him.
Okay.
Old guy's on the ground. He's dead. And so long as, and this part's important,
okay.
this is the horror aspect of it. So long as he's looking at the guy while he's dead, the guy's dead.
All right.
And then, like, he's kind of like, all right, like, and he turns around to go back to, like, his truck so he can take off. And then, he gets into his truck, and as he's in his truck, he sees the man standing there, alive now.
Yeah.
That's what I got.
That's what you got.
So for me, the idea is, I don't have a whole lot because I've actually been trying to like not think about it too much, so that we. So
you don't want to develop it before we get to the elevator.
Yeah, I just want to like think about it. It's just that initial spark. But the idea is that like this guy, you can kill him.
Yeah.
And so long as you're looking at him, he'll stay dead. But the moment you stop looking at him, that no one sees him, he comes back.
Okay.
And he's,
interesting.
He's a fully intelligent guy. Yeah.
All right, so he's not like a zombie or like
no. He's just a normal
ghost.
human. He's just a normal human being.
Okay.
So
when the hitman looks back at him, is he dead again?
No.
Okay.
Now it's over. So he's only dead once, and if you look at him for like the rest of your life, the moment you die, or you're not looking at him, he's gonna come back.
Okay. So then, I guess like it would make sense for there to be some trial and error, where the hitman, because he's not going to get paid, so he has to go out and kill this guy again.
Yeah.
And then like, he's looking at him, because he has to be able to figure it out at some point, right?
Yeah. Well, I think it should get like almost flipped around a little bit, where now the hitman would probably not even be concerned too much about getting paid, and be a little bit more concerned about the fact that like there's now this guy that I don't know how to kill and keep him dead.
Yeah.
Who's now kind of coming after me because he doesn't like it when I kill him.
Right.
Yeah.
So there'd have to be some kind of danger too, though. They like the old man. If he's just still an old man, then what is he just like?
Is he? What if? Because I mean, what if he kills the old guy, turns back, and now the old guy's standing there, but he's young again. Like now he's in his like 20s or 30s again. You know, almost like there's like a reset period for this guy. You know, so like the cane, he doesn't need the cane anymore. We
That's
could go
interesting.
that direction. So now
Kind
it's
of like
kind
the
of
idea of like
Mhm.
he oh man, I don't know. Maybe like he gets a little younger every time he gets revived, like Benjamin Button of murder victims.
Yeah. Then he turns into a baby eventually.
He turns into a baby, and now you got to
Yeah.
kill a baby.
Yeah. Now
you gonna do that?
Oh my gosh, I can't do it.
I can't do it. Yeah.
Just let him age.
But I know I kill people professionally, but I'm no baby killer.
But I think there's a lot of lore in there that could be interesting because it's like, because if you do have them reset to to younger,
Yeah.
you would think like, why don't you just do that? Like, why don't you just get to a certain age and then like off yourself and reset to like younger? So like, how long have you been doing this for? Like, how long have you been alive for? Where like you eventually just die of what, old age? Or of an accident, and then you just come back to the point where like you don't even bother to off yourself to reset anymore because you're just like, whatever, I'll just live this. Like you're almost like living like, now I'm going to play, like you're playing like a game of like World of Warcraft. Where you're like, now I'm going to play a paladin and just see it through. And now, then I'll reset to like, now I'm a druid or, you know, an elf or whatever, and I'm like going to play through on that character.
Huh.
But
Yeah, that's interesting. There could be a lot of lore introduced if every time he dies he kind of respawns as like his younger self.
Yeah.
Man, that's interesting. I'm not sure like what. I'm not sure how. It's almost like a psychological thriller though. Like I feel like it's more of a Dorian Gray type of idea. Like rather than like traditional horror in the traditional sense. Like, at first, like when you were talking about it, I thought you meant of it kind of more like It Follows.
Okay. Yeah.
You know, where it's like this old man that won't die, and he's just like keeps coming back, and he's whatever. He's pissed off at him now, and he can't kill him.
He could stay as the old man with the cane. You know.
I mean, that'd be.
But I like the idea of. I like the idea of him being the old guy being intelligent, where you can like have a conversation with him at some point, where like the guy can trap him, you know, and then have a conversation with him, you know, and the guy's just super wise, and almost like the way like you would feel like if somebody's been alive for like thousands of years and just like uncaring and like, you know, like all right, like I guess I'll torture you now, and it's just like I hate that, you know? Like he's been through it. You know, and he's just like, like there's nothing I can do about it. You know, you got the upper hand for now, but eventually, in like 50 years, you're gonna be dead. So I don't have to worry about you anymore after that. You know, eventually I'll get loose.
Though?
So the question is, I think like if we flash forward all the way to the end, does the old guy die? Like the hitman figures it out, or does the hitman get killed because you just can't get rid of this guy? Like he just took the wrong hit, you know? And it finally caught up with him. Or do you have it where it ends kind of like It Follows, where it's like now you just have to live with the fact that this guy's out there and he's probably going to be coming for you. And
well that's kind of what I mean though, is like, so if we had this guy as a hitman, then I feel like it's an interesting dynamic because he kills professionally.
Yes.
But he can't kill this guy.
Yes.
But I feel like it does kind of reduce the stakes a little bit because this guy kills professionally and all he has to worry about is an old man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm almost wondering, like, would it kind of raise the stakes a little bit if he's more of an average Joe type, who like, you know, like the urban legend type thing where he like, you know, he kills the old man by accident and is like gonna bury him rather than turn himself in. He like hits him with his car or something, and then the old man like, you know, like wakes up.
Oh, yeah, you're saying like don't even go like change the hitman into somebody who's like normal.
Yeah,
And this
yeah,
normal guy
like somebody
made a
who didn't even mean to kill him.
Yeah, yeah, the normal guy made a mistake.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then
Because
then now
then there's stakes. Then it's
Yes.
like this guy.
Yeah.
It makes sense that he'd be worried about an old man, even if he's otherworldly. Like if a hitman's gonna be able to take care of himself.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah.
That's not bad. There should be a what's it called though. There should be. The cool thing about because you almost want like, you want that character in there who can kind of explain things,
Right.
but I don't ever think it's a good idea to have a character in there who just knows everything and just explains everything.
It gets real exposition heavy and kind of takes the magic away a little bit too.
Yeah. But because if there's like a hitman, then there's the guy who hired the hitman. Then you could have a whole backstory behind the guy who hired the hitman. What do you think of the idea to just in general? Do you like the idea?
I think there's potential. I think that like you can take it in a bunch of different directions, but it's like depending on what direction you take it in, it would change the tone entirely.
Yes. Yes.
So it's like is this some like hostile monster of an old man where it's gonna feel more like It Follows, or is this like just this immortal who's kind of over all of it, in which case it's gonna feel like Dorian Gray.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like it really does depend on like what direction you're gonna take it in, and it's like if you wanted to keep it like. If you wanted to keep it cheap, like low budget, then you probably want to go more high concept, where it's like it is more Dorian Gray, and it's like, I don't know, it might you might even want to have it turn into kind of a, like the hitman is now trying to like work with the old man and not work with him, but like try to figure out how he did it.
Yeah.
And he's like, look, like my line of work, like it's really easy for somebody to get the drop on you. It's really easy for like you to make a mistake.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have to worry about that if I had what you had.
Yeah.
And so now it becomes more of like a high concept, introspective type of horror film where it's like the old man is like, kind of like you don't want this, and then kind of helps him to figure out how to get it.
Yes.
And now the hitman has to like live with this like torture of coming back every time,
Yeah. That's kind of interesting too. Yeah.
Yeah.
That might be an interesting thing. If the old guy knows how he's doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. If it's some kind of ritual, and if the ritual's like creepy enough,
Yeah. Yeah.
and like painful enough, then it can be a really kind of like fire in the sky type of scene.
Yeah.
Where he's like, all right, you wanted this. And then it's like, it's just horrific and horrifying. Like the thing that he's doing to him.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, now you're stuck.
Yeah. Maybe the old guy can pass it on to the guy. Like he passes whatever he has.
Yeah.
But he needs like a willing person.
Yeah.
You know, somebody who really wants it. Then he can pass it on to them. And that's basically it. Then,
Oh, you know what? I think that I like the idea of the old man being the one who hired the hitman. And he's like, he's trying to die, and he can't die, so he hires a professional.
Yeah, he hires a professional hitman.
Yeah.
That's not... If he knows how he's doing it, though, But that's actually a cool idea, too.
Yeah,
the old guy hired the hitman to kill him to see it, because he's trying to die.
He's trying to die, yeah. And so if he can pass it on, he passes it on to the hitman.
Yeah.
He can finally die. The hitman is finally going to collect his paycheck. And so now the hitman has the thing.
Yeah.
And the old man can finally die.
I just thought of a really silly backstory.
Okay.
Okay, this is a different direction, though.
Yeah.
Now I'm thinking it is a good idea because we're taking it in so many different directions, potentially. So a different direction is he gets hired by a guy to put out the hit on this guy.
Yeah.
And what happened was this guy met the old guy like 30, 40 years ago. So this guy's an older guy too. He met the old guy 30, 40 years ago when he was younger. And when he was younger, he was like taking care of this older guy and was put into his will. But then the old guy dies. And he's thinking, oh, I'm going to get like the money for the will, I guess, you know?
Yeah, but he comes back.
But then he comes back.
Yeah.
You know? So now he's like, I've been taking care of this guy for like whatever, you know?
Yeah.
I was supposed to get like money for a will, and like now I don't get anything, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So this guy's basically been like hiring people to kill this guy ever since, hoping somebody will do it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it's just like, and like, yeah, but I think that would be a cool visual of them being like, oh, like the guy's dead, and I'm looking at it, and them like kind of like turning away and like, you know, like hugging each other, and like then like looking, and he's like standing there, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And he just walks out of the room, and they're just like, what the, you know, like what just happened?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. That could be a subplot, even if he's not the one who hires the hitman. There could be a subplot of somebody who was in the will, and like now he's like, whatever, he's bitter because he's an old man now, and he's gonna die before this guy does.
Yes.
And he's like, man, I'm gonna die before I get a chance to actually like get this dude's riches that he's amassed over like 1,000 years or however long he's been old. But like that I think could remain as sort of a subplot, and it's just whatever. It's just, you know, someone who knows him. It doesn't have to be the guy who like hired him. But I do like the idea of like maybe the hitman not knowing who hired him.
Yeah.
And it being the old man, and he's like, yeah, like I hired you to figure out how to kill me.
Yeah.
And then like him being able to pass it on to the hitman.
Yeah.
And then it being sort of like the Dead Zone, that kind of like feel where it's like the hitman has this like curse now, and kind of has like what it feels like and what it was that the old man was going through.
Yeah.
I think that's the story right there.
Yeah. I think that's actually pretty good, because you can have this other guy who was supposed to get the inheritance, hire him, but he's working for the old guy. So he still has this story of, I thought I was going to inherit like all this, like basically everything, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then he just came back, and now I'm just basically still been working for him. But I've seen like, and like he can even be like, I don't know how he does it. I don't know, but I've seen him die. I've seen him die like 15 times already.
Yeah.
And you're like the seventh guy I've hired.
Right.
And no one's been able to pull it off. So, you know. But there has to be something special about this hitman, why they can transfer. Like maybe the hitman is like offspring of his. Like thousands of generations down the line.
Dude, that'd be funny. There's just like tons of different people that are related to him because he's just over the years.
But he doesn't know. And then he can be like, I've tried this with other people. But you gotta have, you know, like, you gotta have the right stuff. Maybe the old guy doesn't ever lose it though. You know.
What do you mean he doesn't lose it?
Maybe it weakens every time he gives it to somebody, which is why he's getting older. You know what I'm saying? So he's like, I've given this to like multiple people, you know?
Yeah.
And that's why he's getting older. So there's other people out there, you know, maybe like 10 or 20 people in the whole planet who just have this thing where they don't die.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know? Then,
I do like the idea of there being something like special about the hitman. Like there's a reason why he can take it.
Yeah. Do you like the lineage thing, or is the lineage thing not good?
I feel like it's done, you know, so often.
Yeah, yeah.
That I don't know. I feel like it wouldn't feel as like special, you know, where it's like if there's something about this guy, but I can't think of anything that would be standoutish about a hitman.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
that isn't just like, oh, it's the bloodline.
Maybe it's just most people can't handle it.
Yeah, okay. I like that better. Like, not that the old man's given it to a bunch of people, but maybe that he's tried to give it to a bunch of people and killed them.
Yeah. And he's like, but I mean, I think it's cool if he's like, it's worked a couple times. So you're like, there's other people out there, You
Well,
get that feeling of, he's done it before.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like that just adds a complexity to his ability that almost doesn't make total sense because then, like, why would he care to, like, give it to this guy if he doesn't even think it's going to work? But if he has been the recipient of it, then he knows that it works.
Yeah. Oh.
He's like, someone did this to me.
Yes, he's not the original guy.
Right, he's not the original.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not
Highlander.
the original. Yeah, he's not the original guy.
Yeah.
And that's why he's an old man, because he was given it when he was an old man. Because he didn't want to die. He didn't want to die, and he was given it. So then the original person who's had it, this is the backstory that we never tell.
That's right.
The original person who had it
because it would ruin the movie.
Is Cain from Cain and Abel.
Oh.
Because supposedly Cain is supposed to
walk the earth.
He's cursed to walk the earth. So he could say, like, I was given it by a guy with a mark on his forehead, because Cain's supposed to have a mark on his forehead.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Oh, wow.
And then it's like, I think that's kind of
biblical.
Yeah, well, I love, well, when you're raised Catholic, you like going biblical,
Yeah. It's good. I like that. I like that a lot. I think that we figured out.
That's I think that's kind of a cool little story, and it's something I feel like, it's horror, which is always, like, great, because there's, like, an audience for horror. Horror people love horror.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've never met somebody who knew movies as well as a horror fan. Where, like, everything I was throwing at them, they saw it, and they were, like, young, like 20. And I was like, how have you seen this stuff from, like, like, no one's seen this stuff. And so, but then also, I think it's, like, kind of a smaller film, too, where it's lower budget, it's easier to make, it's got that psychological aspect to it, and you can put some really creepy stuff in it, too, like you can have stuff where, like, he kills the guy, like the old guy, and then he's, like, backing away because he's kind of noticing, like, at a certain point, like, when I stop looking at this guy, he comes back,
Yeah.
So now he's, like, backing away, and then, like, the hills kind of, like, and he's, like, jumping, so he can still see, and then, like, he lands, and then jumps again, and the guy's standing, you know? Doot, 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 their eyeballs meet in the distance, and he's just like, how do you kill this guy?
Yeah. Huh. Yeah. No, I like it. I think that we kind of figured out, like, an actual full premise for it, too.
Yeah. Yeah, where the next step would just be, like, getting the beats down, like, what's the inciting incident, what's the lock-in,
Yeah.
Getting those down, and then just fleshing it out, so you actually have, But that's pretty much it.
Yeah, we could have a script in, like, 2 weeks.
Yeah, I know, right?
Right?
Yeah, if we wanted to. Yeah, if we wanted to.
All right. Unless we missed anything with this story.
No,
I don't think we did. Did you want to play Five-Word Synopsis?
That's right. Yeah, for our New Year's Five-Word Synopsis.
New Year's edition. That's right.
Yeah. Let me get the. I've got it set up here.
All right.
The timer.
So we did this for Christmas movies, and you had such a blast.
Yeah.
Putting this game together. That you have now, it's New Year's theme? It's like New Year's themed movies?
Yeah, so in this New Year's bag is my notebook. Is my New Year's notebook. The funny thing is that my other notebook, I ran out of room. And then the first thing I've written in this thing is the New Year's Five-Word Synopsis.
All right.
And I was like, oh, how funny is that?
Yeah. New year, new notebook.
Yeah. So Five-Word Synopsis, I basically give you a word, then you have to guess what the movie is. I give you 5 words. The first word, if you guess it on the first word, you get 5 points. Then every word that you get after that, you lose a point, all the way to 0 if you can't guess it at all.
Right.
Just so you know, if you thought the Christmas one was like all over the place, the New Year's one,
Yeah.
like half these movies, I don't even recall a New Year's scene in half these movies. So just so you know, like,
all right. I'm looking forward to trying to guess these.
This gets a little bit crazy. Okay, number 1.
Yeah.
Here we go. I'm going to say the word and then I'll start the timer.
Okay.
Widower.
Widower. Sleepless in Seattle.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Wow, dude. Wow. Okay, that's a 5-pointer. Are you serious? So I had
it was the first thing that came to mind that had a widower in it.
Unbelievable. Yeah, I don't even remember there being a like New Year's scene in it, you know, cuz he does the phone call. The next clue is radio talk show, but he does that during Christmas Eve. And then I had Empire State Building, An Affair to Remember, which is the movie they're always talking about.
Right.
Then I had Tom Hanks goofily staring at Meg Ryan across the street. So that one's like the give me. Okay.
Well, that could be like 3 different movies.
Yeah, what movie is that? All right, here we go.
You've got mail.
Number 2.
Okay.
Marcus. Christmas song royalties.
Oh.
Hugh Grant.
About a Boy.
Yes.
Did you say Hugh Grant?
Yes. All right, so I said, how does this work again? So you get two or 3 points for that.
I think because you got Hugh Grant out.
Yeah.
Let's say I get 2 points there. Like I should have said it before Hugh Grant in order to get 3 points.
You get 3 points for it, though, right? Because it's like Marcus doesn't count. That's just the first one. Then the second one you lose a point, and then the third one you lose a point, so you get 3 points.
Yeah. You're right. Right. Yeah, it's 3
points. Oh my
gosh,
how are we this bad at it?
I know. We can write, but we can't count.
I can't believe I got put in charge of this again after the fiasco that was last time. But yeah, there was Marcus, Christmas song royalties, Hugh Grant, Depressed Mom. That's number 4. Okay. Then an adult man hangs out with a 12-year-old boy for an hour 41 minutes. That's the last one. It's the last one. Case. Okay. All right, number 3.
Yeah.
Ticket booth operator.
Oh, while you were sleeping.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I couldn't tell how difficult these were going to be because the last one, like, they were actually Christmas movies for the most part, you know? Yeah. And then this one, I was like, none of these are New Year's Eve movies. Yeah. They just have New Year's Eve in it at some point in the movie. Yeah. So 2 was Comatose Man. 3 is Bill Pullman. 4 is Lucy, I Need to Ask You a Question. 5 is the movie where Sandra Bullock pretends to be engaged to a coma patient.
Wow, you spared no expense. You really wanted to make sure that I got these.
Yeah, just here
Bill
we
Pullman's
go.
He's in both. He's in Sleepless in Seattle too.
He's like the New Year's Eve guy.
Yeah, I guess so.
Number 4.
Yeah.
Fisher. Bruno Kirby.
When Harry Met Sally.
Yes.
You had Carrie Fisher.
Yes. Good one. Then 3, I have Men and Women Cannot Be Friends. 4, I have I'll Have What She's Having. 5, I put If You Couldn't Get the Last Clue, You Don't Deserve It. But she ended up pulling it out.
That's fair, yeah.
Okay.
Fisher.
Number 5.
Okay.
Empire State Building.
An Affair to Remember?
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Okay. Like, I don't remember King Kong taking place on New Year's.
Yes. King Kong. No. Just no.
Are you
Yeah.
sure?
I had a cruise ship. I don't like boat whistles. Cary Grant. The movie they keep talking about in Sleepless in Seattle. Okay. Holy cow. This one, I think, you might have trouble with, and then you're going to be really mad if you have trouble with it.
Okay. All right. I'm ready.
Here we go. Number 6.
Yeah.
Cuba.
Cuba.
Las Vegas. Oh, wait, no. Yes. Ellis Island, 1901. Brothers Kiss.
The Godfather Part 2?
Yes. Yes. I think you got 1 point on that one.
Wow.
And then the last one I put, I know it was you, Fredo. I think you got
Ellis
1 point.
Island 1901. If you didn't say 1901, I might have guessed The Godfather Part 1.
Wait, no. I think you got 2 points. How does this work? I think it's 2. Because that
Yeah,
one,
it's 2 points
2,
because you
3,
didn't give me
2
the
points.
last.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if I give you the last one, you lose the point, and then if you don't get the last one, you get a 0. That's how it works. Okay.
Yeah.
Jeez Louise.
Yeah. Yeah.
I still can't figure it out. I've been doing it. This is like my second time doing it. I can't figure it out.
We're good at math.
Number 7.
Okay.
Rat Pack.
Ocean's 11.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
I wonder how many people viewing might not know that the Ocean's 11 was originally a Rat Pack movie and that it's a remake.
Yeah.
The Brad Pitt version was a remake.
Yeah, the George Clooney Brad Pitt was a remake. Yeah, Rat Pack Las Vegas, Heist, Sinatra, not the one with George Clooney, the original. That's my last clue.
That's a good last clue.
Yeah, the remake's better than the original, though, I'd say.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah. The original's not bad, though.
No,
and,
it's not bad.
They did this other movie that was kind of like a side movie called Robin and the Seven Hoods. Mm-hmm. And it was also a heist movie, and it was also the Rat Pack.
Yeah.
And they did Ocean's 8, and I was like, why didn't they just call it Robin and the Seven Hoods? That would have been awesome. And it would have been a cool, like, little nod.
Yeah.
And, like, people wouldn't have felt like, oh, they're, like, you know, they're trying to just, like, remake Ocean's 11 with women. And it's like, no, it's Robin and the Seven Hoods, and it's a remake of an old movie, and it's, like, related to Ocean's 11. Like, that would have been awesome. That would have been great.
Yeah, that would have been good.
Missed opportunity.
They should have asked you first before they
should have asked me. They should have asked the Cena brothers.
I know. How cool would that have been? Okay. Number 8.
Okay.
Rags to Riches. Riches to Rags. $1 bet.
Trading Places.
Yes.
Trading Places. I was having trouble remembering the name of the movie.
Yeah, I know.
That's a good one. Riches to Rags. $1 bet.
So I said 3, which means it's actually 2. So you get 3 points for that one. Okay.
Yeah.
Score. My favorite was last time I had the score up, but then I'm like, I don't know how I did the score wrong, and then it changes to like what it actually was.
Yeah.
I still think I did it wrong. At the end of the day. Okay, number 9.
All right.
Let's see.
Wait. What were the two other clues for Trading Places?
So there's $1 bet. Then there's I can see. I have legs. And then it's Murphy and Aykroyd switch lives, swapped positions, exchange situations.
All right.
Yeah. Number 9.
Okay, number 9.
Running.
I have a guess.
Okay.
Forrest Gump.
Yes. You can guess. You don't have to. It doesn't have to be correct the first time you say it. You can just
I
guess
know.
movies.
It just seems so silly.
I'm surprised. I'm kind of surprised you can get it off of stuff like that. You know?
Yeah.
Off of just saying like the Rat Pack, and then you're like because there's a bunch of Rat Pack movies.
Yeah.
So I thought like, oh, like he's never gonna figure this one out. But then you end up like knowing exactly which Rat Pack movie it is for some weird reason.
Hey, I don't know.
There's a bunch of running movies too. So
yeah.
So
Yeah.
running, Jenny, ping pong, Vietnam, seats taken. Okay, this one,
All right.
man. You're never gonna get this one.
We'll see.
I bet you $1 you won't get it.
Trading Places.
Again, Trading Places too. Okay, number 10. Train.
Train.
Bugs. Cannibalism. Cold.
I have
A
no
fight all the way to the engine room.
What, Snowpiercer?
Yes. Right? Like,
Dude,
Chris,
that
a New-
takes
New
place
Year's-
during New Year's?
New Year's Eve movie?
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really difficult.
Yeah.
That was a good one, though. It's a good one to end on, too. You had 10, right?
Yeah, I had 10. 5, 10, 15. And 4 is 19, and 3 is 22. 24. 29. 32. 2 and 5 is 37. And 38. You had 38 points.
All right. That's not bad.
Let's see what you got. Okay.
38 points out of a
38's
possible
not
50.
bad. Yeah, 38's not bad. So 35 to 44, which is where you land.
Yeah.
You are Forrest Gump, a genius at literally everything, smacking these words around like a ping pong ball. Unfortunately, still a little slow to get full points.
Okay. All right.
Do you want me to go down the list? If say what you could have gotten for the other ones?
Yeah. Let's start at the top. That what I missed. 45
okay.
to 50. Yeah.
Yeah. So 45 to 50. This is if you get like those max points. Here
Right.
we go. You are Michael Corleone from The Godfather 2. Your idiot brother tried to beat you, but you whacked his little game. Please don't kiss me. I'm germ conscious.
My idiot brother.
Right? Isn't that great?
That's awesome.
So 25 to 34, you are Billy Ray Valentine from Trading Places. You started out rags, but you got the riches in the end. That's if you did bad at the beginning. Then here's if you did good at the beginning from 25 to 34, so within the same points. You are Lewis Winthrop III. You started out with the points, but lost it all in the end.
Huh.
Yeah, so, could have
That's
gotten one of
fun.
you could have gotten one of each. Yeah, Trading Places one. So 15 to 24. You are Harry Burns from When Harry Met Sally. You had the answers right in front of you for what seemed like 12 years, but you couldn't figure it out. Yet you're still a lovable loser. Then 0 to 14, you are Peter Gallagher from While You Were Sleeping, completely comatose. And I am your brother, have stolen Sandra Bullock from you. And
Wow.
yeah.
Man, that's so much fun. That's like
Isn't
the
it?
most
Yeah.
fun part of the game is like the
It's
rankings.
the little rankings are stupidly fun.
It really is. All right. Well, man, I think that those are some good pages.
Yep.
So yeah, I think that we're good. I'll see you next time, man.
How you doing?